So, there's a very specific type of artificial intelligence out there right now, and it is quietly rewriting the rules for literally every single job and creative passion on the planet. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack exactly what is happening with generative AI. Because, let's be real, the ground is shifting incredibly fast, and I want to make absolutely sure you're equipped to be the one leading this change. All right, let's just dive right in. Take a look at this. The biggest risk isn't that AI will replace you, it's that someone using it will. This right here, this is the core thesis of our entire explainer today. It sets the stakes right up front. Look, the goal isn't to create panic, it's to empower you. The question is no longer if your job is going to be affected, but how. And understanding this one single concept, it's the absolute key to turning all that anxiety into a massive superpower. Section 1. The Cognitive Automation Shift. So, generative AI tools, things like chatgpt, Midjourney, and all those little AI assistants getting baked into your everyday software, they are already here. This isn't some sci-fi movie plot or a distant future prediction. We're talking about a foundational, general-purpose technology. It's on par with the personal computer or the internet itself. And honestly, what's truly wild is that its adoption is happening even faster than either of those. For decades, right, the whole automation story was always about robots coming for repetitive, manual labor on the factory floor. But generative AI, it's a totally different beast. It targets cognitive tasks. It's coming for the very work that writers, analysts, and creatives actually rely on to build their careers. So look, if you're feeling some very real anxiety right now about your value in the workplace, your feelings are 100% valid. We are looking at a fundamentally different kind of disruption here. Because frankly, the ground is shifting right under our feet. Let's look at how workflows are specifically changing today. Just a couple of years ago, if you were, say, a consultant or a writer drafting a detailed report or a batch of marketing emails, that could take days of really focused effort. Now, a generative AI can pump out a totally solid first draft in seconds. It can instantly analyze mountains of text. Or if you're a creator, an AI can generate hundreds of visual concepts from just one single text prompt. What this means is that the pressure is shifting away from initial creation and pushing human value entirely towards strategy, insight, and that final polish. And make no mistake, this is absolutely not isolated to just the creative fields. Developers are out there using AI to write and debug code significantly faster. Financial analysts are using it to simulate incredibly complex market scenarios. In fact, industries with high AI exposure are already reporting massive boosts in labor productivity. Even the internet itself is fundamentally changing. A huge volume of automated traffic, crawlers, and bots now account for a massive share of all online activity. So yeah, the overwhelming pace of this change is real for absolutely everyone. Which brings us to Section 2, how AI actually works. Okay, so if the pace of all this change feels completely overwhelming, how do we actually overcome that fear of obsolescence? Well, to master this technology, we really have to strip away the sci-fi magic, cut through all the crazy hype, and truly understand the tools sitting right in front of us. A large language model, or LLM, isn't a brain. They don't have emotions, they definitely don't have life experience, and they have absolutely zero real intent. They don't understand concepts the way you and I do. What they actually are incredibly powerful pattern recognition systems. They've been trained on massive libraries of human creativity, text, images, code from the internet, and their only job is simply to mirror our patterns and predict what logically comes next. In fact, I really like to think of it this way. It is literally just the world's most advanced autocomplete. By breaking it down to its core function, we can kind of playfully undercut that anxiety we've all been feeling. It is just predicting the next word in a sentence, the next pixel in an image, or the next line of code. That's it. Once you realize it's a tool rather than a competitor, you can finally start using it to your absolute advantage. Section 3. The AI Mastery Playbook. Now that we actually know what we're dealing with, let's look at the actionable steps you need to take to turn this tech into your personal superpower. Step 1. Become an active user. Look, you simply cannot understand the immense power or the very real limits of this technology from the sidelines. You gotta get your hands dirty. Open up ChatGPT, use it to brainstorm some ideas. Try out a free image generator just to see what it can really do. The goal here isn't just to play around, it's to build an intuition for how the AI thinks before you can get real, tangible value from it. As the saying goes, you have to learn how to drive before you can get any value out of the car, right? Step 2. Think like a co-pilot, not a passenger. The research in our source material is completely clear on this point. The biggest gains come from what we call hybrid intelligence. This is exactly where you position AI to augment your work rather than replace you. The future isn't about AI working all by itself in a vacuum. It's about collaboration. Treat it like your assistant. And this new workflow basically frames every single task you have by asking yourself one question. How can the machine handle the 80% heavy lifting, the grunt work? Because if the AI takes that 80%, it leaves you at the 20% that truly matters. That remaining 20%, that requires your unique human strategy, your creativity, and your critical judgment. Organizations that approach AI exactly this way, as a tool for augmentation, are the ones building trust and seeing some massive breakthroughs. Moving right along to step 3, master the art of the prompt. So this is absolutely crucial. Prompting is your new essential skill. The quality of the AI's output is a direct reflection of the quality of your input. If you just ask it to, write a marketing plan, you're going to get a generic, fairly useless result. Instead, you have to act as the director. You need to provide clear instructions, context, constraints, your target audience, your brand voice, the whole shebang. You are the director giving the context. The AI is merely the actor executing your vision. Step 4. Double down on the skills AI just can't replicate. As AI takes over those routine tasks we were just talking about, your uniquely human skills become way more valuable than ever before. We're talking about critical thinking, emotional intelligence, complex problem solving, and, building consensus in high-stakes meetings. Look, an AI might generate a beautifully formatted report, but it cannot understand the cultural context or the emotional resonance needed to genuinely connect with an audience. Remember this, AI provides the what, but you must provide the so what and the now what. And our final step in the playbook, embrace continuous learning. These tools are evolving at an absolute dizzying pace. What's considered cutting edge today is just going to be standard tomorrow. In almost every sector, AI proficiency is quickly becoming a highly sought-after skill by hiring managers everywhere. You just have to commit to lifelong learning and experimentation. Read the updates, follow the experts. You don't need to go become an AI engineer or anything, but you do need to remain an expert in your own field who happens to be exceptionally good at leveraging AI as a tool. Section 4, the human advantage. Throughout this whole explainer, we've looked at the disruption this technology is causing. But honestly, it is time to reframe the narrative. This is not about robots conquering humanity. It is a massive, incredibly empowering shift in exactly how we work, how we think, and how we create. You are competing with people who use AI. You're not competing with machines. Sticking to the fear of being replaced, that's a really passive way to look at this. The proactive view is realizing that the real advantage belongs to the professional who knows how to turn AI's immense power into real-world results. Because very soon, everyone is going to have access to these tools. The winner is the person who gets in the driver's seat, using this tech to lead and innovate in their field. Which leaves you with a pretty big choice to make about your future. And that brings me to a final provocative question for you. What is your absolute biggest hope or your biggest fear about AI? I am genuinely curious to read your perspective on this, so please jump down into the comments and let me know. And hey, if you want to stay ahead of the curve on the technologies that are completely rewriting our world, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next explainer. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you next time.